Daytime Tea. I am your host, Auntie Derek, where we talk about the latest celebrity tea in the news. And I have my lovely co-host here, I Chill. Hey, boo.
Hey everybody.
Yes. So sorry I wasn't able to make it yesterday. Like Will would say, Auntie is just so busy, and Auntie had errands, and oh my God, I'm just so busy. So I wasn't able to do a live show yesterday, but we are back. Yes.
Yes.
So and baby I had a busy weekend, honey. We don't even really need to get into it. I already told people who need to know. So we'll just get started with the show. And we're going to start off with some May Mayhem, where we honor people who made good trouble in society. And we're going to honor a legend today on her birthday. And I'm not just using this term loosely. This woman is a legend in every aspect of the word, a living legend at that. And it is her, I believe, 79th birthday today. So we're going to talk about Cher. Yes, honey. So I just shared this link from Encyclopedia Britannica, who gives a really nice bio on her. So Cher, who was born, her real name is Sherilyn Sarkeesian. She was born on May 20th in 1946 in El Centro, California. And she's an American entrepreneur who parlayed her status as a teenage pop singer in the 1960s into a successful recording, concert, and acting career, projecting an image that is altogether, though, vulnerable, outspoken, and resilient. Known for having a devoted fan base, Cher is regarded as a cultural icon who continually reinvents herself through fashion and new projects. So Cher's mother, Georgia Holt, whose birth name is Jackie Jean Crouch, was an actress who twice married and twice divorced Cher's father, John Paul Sarkeesian, a horse breeder. After her parents' first divorce, Cher was placed temporarily in an orphanage as her mother struggled financially. Her mother married several other times and had a second daughter, Georgianne. In 1961, Cher's mother married bank manager Gilbert Hartman LaPierre, who adopted Cher and Georgianne. Growing up, Cher struggled with undiagnosed dyslexia, which made her education an unhappy experience. At age 16, she left school and moved to Los Angeles, where she met entertainer and songwriter Salvatore Sonny Bono, whom she married in 1964. The couple began singing together, and their first big pop hit came in 1965 with I Got You, Babe, which sold more than 3 million copies. The duo went on to score a number of hits. With their noticeable height difference, they made for a visually striking couple. But by the late 1960s, their popularity had begun to fade. A jumpstart came in 1971 with the television variety show, The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, which ran until 1974. During this time, Cher's solo singing career flourished. She had three number one hits in the early 1970s: Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, Half Breed, and Dark Lady. Cher and Sonny divorced in 1974, though they appeared as co hosts on another television show in 1976 and 1977. After Sonny left show business, Cher cultivated a successful nightclub act and revisited an earlier interest in acting. She appeared in the Broadway and film versions of Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, Jimmy Dean, and received an Academy Award nomination for her supporting role in Silkwood. In 1988, she won an Academy Award for her starring role as an Italian American widow in the romantic comedy Moonstruck. Her other films include Mask, Suspect, The Witches of Eastwick, Mermaids, and Tea with Mussolini. Cher's television credits include the movie If These Walls Could Talk with Demi Moore and Sissy Spacek, and guest appearances on the sitcom Will and Grace, where she was the object of a devoted obsession belonging to the wannabe entertainer Jack McFarlane, played by Sean Hayes. In 2010, she starred opposite Christina Aguilera as a nightclub owner and performer in the musical drama Burlesque. And in the following year, she provided the voice of the lioness in the comedy Zookeeper. Cher later appeared in Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. In the late 1980s, Cher released two successful albums, Cher and Heart of Stone. She had a top 10 hit in 1988 with the power ballad I Found Someone, followed by what became one of her signature songs, If I Could Turn Back Time, which reached number 3 in 1989. After this success, her music career waned, but she made a comeback with Believe in 1998 and Living Proof in 2002. In 2000, she won a Grammy Award for the dance single Believe, which went #1 on the Billboard chart. Believe was the first hit song to make use of autotune, a form of technology that allows studios to digitally enhance a singer's pitch. Oh, Cher, so you're the reason, Cher. Okay. Well, let me continue on her, then I'll talk junk once I'm finished reading. Okay. Cher has two sons, Chaz Bono from her marriage to Sonny Bono, and Elijah Blue Allman from her marriage to musician Greg Allman, which lasted from 1975 to 1979. Cher's enduring popularity with many different generations was evident with the successful and elaborate Las Vegas residency from 2008 to 2011. In 2017, she began another concert residency in Las Vegas and Washington, D.C. Her later albums include Closer to the Truth and Dancing Queen, and she has a Christmas album as well. In 2018, Cher was named a Kennedy Center honoree. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2024. That same year, she published Cher, the memoir, part one, which covers the icon's life from childhood up until the beginning of her acting career. The candid memoir was received positively by critics. Cher announced plans to publish the second part in 2025, so this year. So again, shout out to that legend and happy birthday, and I hope you have many, many more birthdays. But let's talk about this auto tune. You, honey, you're the reason.
It's your fault, Cher.
It is your fault. But you know what? Let me not do that because you know T-Pain did have a good run, like in the early to mid 2000s, and it wasn't bad. It's just like it was just really overused. Cher didn't overuse it, so I won't give her too much. But yeah, 79, honey, and fabulous.
Looking good, dating her young man. She living the life.
Okay, he not gonna be gay off that pussy, honey. I know that's right. Hey, chaotic cup.
You so crazy.
Well, before we get started with the tea, did anybody want to add anything about Miss Cher? All right, well, let's go ahead and get started with the tea, honey.
It's tea time.
Yes. So I'm actually, you know what? I want to stick my middle finger up to people.com because y'all embarrassed me. Y'all made me look really bad with y'all half updating with this Diddy trial. I'm sitting here, had me sitting there thinking, oh, I don't think Dawn Rashard testified on Friday. Whole time she did testify and people just didn't write the shit down. So I don't know what the hell y'all doing in that courtroom. Are y'all playing on your phones? Are you taking a nap? I don't know what the hell is going on. But moving forward, I will not be using people when it comes to this Diddy trial. I decided to use CNN today.
You heard that, people? That's right.
Can't believe they had embarrassed me like that. But CNN gives a really, really good breakdown and a lot of live updates, honey. And y'all just see where I shared here. Live update, Sean Diddy Combs trial continues after Cassie Ventura's testimony. So let me just scroll down to where it starts. Now I'm going to be skipping like certain things, like where it says, because it really gives you a minute by minute update. Like they say, oh, we're waiting for the judge. The judge is standing up. The courtroom is waiting for the jury. The jury has walked into the room. That's the kind of like it gives you a minute by minute update, honey.
Well, can't have some more than that.
Hello. Well, from people you can, because them motherfuckers. But anyway, let me go to, ooh, it's a lot. Okay. And let's just, because since we weren't here yesterday, let's they give a breakdown of what happened yesterday. So so it says happening now. Oh, let me see, catch up. There we go. Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to find in the article where they wrapped up yesterday's trial. Oh, I guess it's not. It looks different from the web version. On the phone, it had it like right in my face. But anyway, no worries. So we know that Dawn Rashard testified most of yesterday, and they have that in here as well. see. Don Richard, a former member of the group Danity Kane, Richard said after she witnessed Combs' violent behavior, she told Cassie Ventura she should leave. Richard did not intervene out of fear of for her own safety. Richard also testified she didn't immediately talk about the alleged abuse that she witnessed because Combs and uh, Harvey Pierre, the former president of Bad Boy Records, told her not to. When asked what made her speak out, Richard pointed to Ventura. Richard testified she often saw Combs taking drugs, including weed, ketamine, and cocaine. She didn't see him take opiates, she testified. Richard testified she heard Combs discuss Ventura's career with her. During those conversations, Combs would sometimes turn violent towards Ventura, but he'd usually say Ventura's career would progress on his timeline, Richard testified. Richard testified she saw Ventura at different times with injuries on her face, arms, and legs after Combs was violent towards his former girlfriend. Ventura attempted to cover up the injuries with clothing, makeup, and sunglasses, Richard said. Um, oh, yep, so that was the recap I was talking about. That was from yesterday. And then we're going to skip this one. This is one of those updates I was telling you about, the judges on the bench. So lawyers debate what Cassie Ventura's mother can say on the stand today. So I didn't even know her mama was going to testify. So prosecutors and defense attorneys are debating upcoming testimony from David James, who will continue testifying this morning, and Cassie Ventura's mother, Regina Ventura, who is expected to take the stand later today. Prosecutors argue Regina Ventura can testify that in December of 2011, Sean Diddy Combs demanded she pay him $20,000 for money he spent on her daughter after he learned she was romantically involved with Kid Cudi. The money demand came within days of Combs allegedly threatening Cassie Ventura and Kid Cudi and threatening to release sexually explicit videos of her. Regina Ventura took out a loan and wired the money to Combs. The money was wired back to her without explanation days later. The government has bank records to support the transaction. Prosecutors say the judge should hear this evidence. They say speaks to the coercive control Combs held over Cassandra Ventura. The defense objected to the testimony, saying it would be prejudicial to Combs, highlighting the economic disparity between him and the Ventura family. Defense attorney Mark Agnafilo also noted Combs gave the money back. Judge Arun Subramanian said Agnafilo could object to the testimony when it comes up during the Regina Ventura's testimony later today, and he deal with it then. Okay. Says the court, I'm going to skip this update. The court is waiting for some jurors to arrive. Combs' sister is in court today. So, yes, Sean Diddy Combs' sister is in court today. His children and mother, who have been inside the courtroom on other days, are not there yet today. Combs is wearing a heather blue sweater, a white collared shirt, and dark gray pants. He's talking to his attorney, Mark Agnafilo, as we wait for court to begin. And let me see what else we have. Hey, favorite Taurus. Combs' former assistant is back on the stand. So David James, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, is back on the stand. The jury is entering now. And David James testified yesterday. And let me see what David James said. James is the first of Combs' former assistants to testify in his racketeering and sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors have said Combs ran a criminal racketeering enterprise in which he had some of his inner circle coerced women into participating in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs. James said he was with Combs on the day he was working and traveled around the world with him. James testified Combs' security staffers often told him to stay in my lane, especially if he was asking too many questions. James said he recalled a conversation he had with Ventura where she said to him, "Man, this lifestyle is crazy." He said he agreed and suggested she leave. He testified. I can't get out," Ventura told him, according to James. She told him Combs had control over her music career, paid for her apartment, gave her allowances, James testified. Okay, so where else are we going to go? Ex-assistant heard Combs and Ventura argue but didn't see violence, he testifies. Okay, we don't really need to read the details of that. I think that's self-explanatory. Combs confronted James over blog posts alleging assault on Ventura, former assistant testifies. Okay, so David James, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, testified that he was on the computer at Combs' home one night when Combs was out at the club with Cassie Ventura, another assistant, and security. As soon as he entered the door, he beelined straight for me and pulled up the computer search history. James said. Combs told him that someone had written a blog post lying about him hitting Ventura, and he wanted to see if James had written it, the former assistant testified. James said he did not see Ventura that night, but 2 days later, Combs directed him to bring her food at a nearby hotel. When James brought the food to her hotel room, he was surprised to see a member of Combs' staff answer the door instead of Ventura herself. She stayed at the hotel for about a week, he testified. And what else? The next update, Combs' ex-assistant described how he stocked hotel rooms for the rapper. Okay, what is he stocking it with? And his favorite hotel was the Trump International when he was staying in New York. James said he would set up things for Combs before his arrival, including clothing, a toiletry bag, a medicine bag, food and drinks. He said he would organize a collection of about 40 products, mostly skincare, for Combs in the hotel bathroom. Oh, I know that motherfucker is mad. He can't cleanse his face in jail, honey. Oh, chat, or in prison, rather. It says the medicine bag typically carried about 25 to 30 pill bottles, which included ecstasy and Percocet, James said. Some bottles were unmarked, he added. Combs security always carried Combs' Louis Vuitton bag, which held personal items and typically $10,000 or more in cash. James said he will often replenish items for Combs during trips. If he was restocking food and drinks, James said he would pay for them and get reimbursed by Bad Boy Entertainment. When he restocked personal items such as baby oil, lubricant, and condoms, James said he would ask security to be reimbursed from the cash in Combs' bag. When asked if Combs would stay alone when he traveled, James said, "I don't think Mr. Combs ever stayed alone." While he worked for Combs, James said he typically Cassie Ventura would stay with Combs, but there were other women as well. Mm-mm. Combs, ex-assistant, recalls seeing Ventura Combs' hotel room during iPad drop-off. I think that's self-explanatory. We don't really need to read the details of that. Ex-assistant describes what he says was Combs' drug use. And here's what I knew he was on drugs, honey, but I didn't know he was addicted to Percocet. So David James, an assistant for Sean Diddy Combs from 2007 to 2009, testified he saw Combs take drugs and give them to his friends. On a couple of occasions, James procured drugs for Combs' friends, he testified. A person called One Stop often brought drugs to Combs, James said. James understood Combs often took Percocet while he was operating his businesses and preferred to take ecstasy at night, he said. Okay, so he liked Percocet during the day and ecstasy at night. Where's Farnsworth Bentley? You know, that's a good question. And I think favorite tours, I think I would imagine he's gonna have to be subpoenaed at some point because he was another personal assistant. If they're gonna subpoena this personal assistant that we're talking about now, I am pretty sure they're gonna subpoena Farnsworth, who y'all didn't even know was straight. I will never forget the day on this show, Hood, when I said, yeah, he married. And y'all was like, well, hold up. Married to what? I said, yeah, a woman. And y'all was like, bitch. Anyway, okay.
Well, you acted like that's proof. I'm just going to put that right there. He's married to a woman, so.
A very famous woman at that, who was in a few of our favorite films. I'm trying to get to where is Dawn at, honey? I want to see what Dawn had to say. I personally, I've had enough of hearing about David and what David has to say, but says defense suggests ex-assistant left security guard at restaurant. Don't care. Ex-assistant, I wouldn't describe Combs as gracious. We wouldn't either. Yeah, it's a lot of updates in this, honey. Maybe I need to go back to people shit where it's simplified. Oh, another update. Court is taking a 10-minute break. Cassie Ventura's mother is next on the witness stand. Matter of fact, let me just because I feel like I'm gonna have to do too much scrolling to see Dawn Richard. So let me just go back to the people and read what they had, because I actually did read it this morning. They gave a little bit of a summary. Diddy trial people.
How quickly you fall back.
Right? Okay.
You just custom out.
That's the life of being with an Aries, honey. That's how we do. Okay, and I'm just going to share it for the listeners as well to the Jumbotron in case. And yes, Will, very famous. She played a really key role in White Chicks. Don't do that to her. So let me just scroll down. Okay, and People only has, I think, maybe 3 updates. It says Don Richard testified Usher was present when Diddy allegedly punched Cassie. So Richard testified on Monday, May 19th, that Usher, record executive Jimmy Ovine, and rapper Neo were at the restaurant when she alleged she saw Combs punch Ventura in the stomach in 2010. It's not clear if any high-profile names witnessed the alleged assault. Richard claimed that Combs threatened to kill her if she told anyone about the alleged assault. And then it says Don Richard testifies about witnessing Diddy's relationship with Cassie. Richard, a longtime Combs collaborator, detailed alleged incidents of abuse she said she witnessed. Richard testified that Combs and Ventura once got into an argument and that he punched her in the face with a closed fist. Richard claimed Ventura went into the bathroom crying while Combs angrily walked off. Cass is quiet, Richard testified. She was soft when she would stick up for herself. Combs would hurt her for it. And then it says Cassie's former best friend says she was assaulted by Combs. So following Richard's testimony, Carrie Morgan, who said she met Ventura as a teenager during a modeling shoot, she testified that she saw Combs act violently towards Cassie in the singer's Hollywood home in Jamaica. In the singer's Hollywood home and in Jamaica, forgive me. The alleged Jamaica incident occurred in 2013 when Morgan said she heard Ventura let out guttural and terrifying screams before seeing Combs drag her by the hair. Morgan said she ended her friendship with Ventura in 2018 when she claimed Combs assaulted her with a wooden hanger in Ventura's home. He came behind me and choked me and what's that word? Boomeranged a wooden hanger around my head, Morgan told the court. This motherfucker is crazy. Good Lord. So, it said, hey, chill, hey, wag, hey, everybody else, and then go say, hello, dear. This is exactly why I don't fuck with Libra men. Fuck you, how? But let me see. So that was all from the People article. And this is just so much going on in this trial, honey. And we are just beginning because I think we have like 5 or 6 more weeks left of this
minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I told you it was going to be a lot of people testifying after Cassie, so she was just the start.
Yep. Let me see. What's it? And then this talks about the escorts. Let me see. Hayes detailed first time he met Ventura and Combs. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see because the jury did get a chance to see photos of all the sex work. When I tell you, I think all but maybe 1 or 2, they look like some basic ass sex workers, honey. I'm like, if you're gonna spend money for some dick, at least I don't know. Well, I guess it wasn't their face they were paying for. I guess so.
I was about to say that it's not about their face, probably more about their size and reputation.
He got them from Dollar General. No, he didn't, because if he would have got them from Dollar General, he would have had much better quality. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
So it says, Sheree Hayes testified that he met Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura sometime in the fall of 2012. He first got the call from Ventura, who told him her name was Janet. She said it was her birthday, and her husband said that she could hire an exotic dancer for the occasion. He said he believes they found him through his website. Hayes said that he met Combs and Ventura at Trump International Hotel in New York City the first time. He said he believed that she was going to provide 30 or 45-minute striptease dance for a small group. Hayes further describes encounter with Combs and Ventura at the hotel. Let me see if I'm just going to quickly scan to see if there's anything worth reading. He said, I was specifically told not to acknowledge her husband, try not to look at him, no communication or anything, he testified. Okay, wow. After explaining the situation, Ventura handed him a stack of cash and said he could change into underwear or a towel in the bathroom. He counted $800 in cash and then slipped into a towel. Okay. Male escort says Combs gave Ventura subtle directions during their encounter. Says testifying more about the first encounter he had with Diddy and Cassie, Sheree Hayes said he followed Ventura's lead and mimicked what she did. Hayes said that when Ventura began to pour baby oil on herself, he did too. Eventually, he saw a man enter the room, he testified. Hayes recalled that Combs would speak to Ventura, giving subtle directions, including adjustments he wanted to the lighting and how her body was positioned. Hayes said at the end of the encounter, Ventura thanked him and handed him an additional $1,200. Okay, he made $2,000 in one night. You better work. Let's see. Hayes did not realize man in the hotel room was Combs. He says first of encounter. Okay. And it looks like, let me see any updates. The jury has been dismissed for lunch. And they asked that, yeah, that was pretty much it for so we will revisit this tomorrow with live updates. And I will be again, I guess I could use People and CNN. Because I like the simplicity of People, but I do like the constant updates with CNN. So duality. Does anybody want to add anything about that creepy ass fucker before we go to the next story? Okay, well, the next story, y'all, Misa Hilton, y'all remember we saw her at the trial and everything, on the walker. Well, she says y'all got her fucked up. Oh, sorry, favorite Taurus. I'm just seeing your hand.
No problem. So did y'all talk about that crazy lady that's outside in her underwear screaming at people of the trial, like especially folks who are of certain notoriety, like damn near trolling people outside the courtroom? Do y'all know anything about that?
I didn't know.
No, I've seen videos somebody acting crazy, but not that particular person.
Yeah, there's. I think we're gonna hear about that soon as well. I believe she's some sort of personality, not a very good one. And she's running around the courtroom in like her underwear. Well, see me outside the courthouse in her underwear, and she has this really ratty wig, and she's harassing folks, and
Wow.
it,
Not her underwear.
it, you know. But I'm pretty sure we'll hear about that person relatively soon because I'm starting to hear rumbles or see snips of them just being awful to the folks who are uh, either testified or they have some sort of
Yeah.
visibility in the media world.
Well, did you see the one where someone claimed he was paying people to wear free Diddy T-shirts, $20 an hour, and the girl was
Mm-hmm.
filming them, and she said that they tried to hire her to wear the T-shirt for $20 an hour. It's a lot. I'm not saying Diddy did it. Maybe one of his supporters or somebody, he directed to do it. I don't know, but it's definitely a lot of activity outside of the courtroom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't $20 an hour below like union rate? That is so cheap. Ew.
It sure is, honey. Well, that girl with that underwear, she could have took her ass over there and at least made a good $20 or $40 to stand out there for 2 hours. But no, she want to be out there with her Tussie cat out facing the world
For
for
free.
free.
I'm waiting for somebody. Oh, I can't say that on the record line, but I wouldn't be surprised uh, if her visibility, it got less and less, or it got altered in some way while she's performing these antics at the trial, outside the trial.
Yes, and Hammy, I said Tussie Cat. I actually got that from Funky Dineva, honey. Once I heard him say that, baby, I said, oh, I'm taking this effective immediately, honey. It just sounds so classy when you say it, Tussie Cat.
You think so?
I do. I do.
Well, okay then.
Oh, we got a comment says, fuck Funky. Well, oh my. Well, like I was saying, Misa Hilton said y'all got her fucked up, honey. Cause she ain't out there to support Diddy. She out there to support her kids, is what she says. So I just shared this link from All Hip Hop. Diddy's ex, Misa Hilton, shuts down rumors about trial support. So Misa Hilton showed up to Diddy's court proceedings last week, not to back the embattled hip hop mogul, but to stand by her son Justin Combs and his siblings. Something she made clear after online critics questioned her intentions. When my son said, "Mommy, I need you," I was right there for him, Walker and all. Hilton wrote in an Instagram post over the weekend. "I'm a mother first, for real, and I am my son's strength, and that's just what it is, plain and simple." Hilton, who has been recovering from an injury, said that she had planned to keep her healing process private until her son needed her. "God is good all the time," she added. "Yes, I'm good, everyone. I'm on my healing journey. When I suffered my injury, I had chosen to heal privately, but when my son said, 'Mommy, I need you,' I was right there for him, Walker and all." She didn't mince words when addressing the backlash over her appearance at the trial. "Whoever doesn't understand that just simply isn't in alignment with me or anything that I'm about in life," Hilton declared. "I'm cool with that. I have a purpose filled life that I live daily. I make impact. I'm not concerned with insecure people attempting to project their insecurities onto me, ever." So, her attorney, Nicholas Ramsharitar, I'm sure I said his name wrong, also spoke out in her defense last week. He told All Hip Hop that her presence was about family, not loyalty to Diddy. "The number one thing I can say about Misa Hilton is that she is a wonderful mother," the lawyer said. "She has beautiful kids. Both Christian and Justin are fantastic young men. I've had the opportunity to meet them, work with them in some capacity, and it's clear they are a testament to how well Misa and Sean raised them." He added that the ongoing legal drama has made it difficult for the family to maintain a sense of normalcy. Now, with the trial going on, the kids being close to their father, and Misa maintaining a great working relationship with Sean, it's been tough. Last year, Hilton publicly supported Cassie after surveillance footage surfaced showing Diddy assaulting her. "My heart goes out to her," she said at the time. "I know exactly how she feels, and through my empathy, it has triggered my own trauma." Mm-mm. So my thing is, right, I I um I get that you want to support your children. I'm just kind of like, and do not get me wrong, because I'm very well aware that I'm not neither Justin or Justin. What was the other child name? Justin and anyway, I'm not either one of her two children, and my mother is not Misa Hilton. But I just kind of feel like if my father were going through something like this, like something similar to this, and I personally wanted to go and support him, my mother, she will understand that, but she wouldn't like. She understands how it would look if she was out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I hear you, girl, but I don't know.
I
I don't.
disagree. I disagree, Auntie. As a parent,
Okay.
as a parent, and I'm not a parent, but I think the love that you have for your child as the parent-child connection, even if your child wanted to be out there to support his father, even if you didn't agree, I can see why she would be there in support of her son, even though she may not agree with it with what he's doing. She's there for him as he hears very disturbing information about his father. So yeah, I can see her being there for him. I really can. And she straightened it out. She said, "You got her fucked up," and so she set the record straight. She's not there for Diddy. She's there for her son. I get it.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know, I'm just like, girl, look, I hear you, but go and support your dad at that trial. We'll just meet at the Applebee's around the corner, because I can't be seen. Um,
Not around the corner.
because there's always the Applebee's around the corner.
Right, right.
Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
No, I definitely have to agree with Chill because a good mother's love is forever, right? And
Yes.
also thought about it in a different perspective as well. It's like not only is she actively supporting her son, but there is still a tie there with her son's siblings as well, even though she is not their mother, you know.
Right.
So like, it runs very deep, and not many people are going to understand it, which is understandable because not many people are parents, but I didn't see anything wrong with it at all. Like, hey, you want to make sure that your child is in a more stable emotional state. something this tragic, and who even knows? I'm pretty sure I don't want to put this out there, but I say, what happens in the event that he was actually witnessing some of these things that happened, you know? So it could be PTSD, it could be a number of things, but a black mother, I will say, a good black mother will always be there for their children.
I know that's right. I hear y'all, honey. This is exactly why I'm going to always be an auntie and not a parent. Because, like I said, meet me at the Applebee's around the corner when all this shit is over with. So, but y'all make some really, really good points. I guess I just see it like different. Yeah, because I'm not a parent, and I don't know. Maybe I would maybe feel different if I was a parent, which I will never be. So
Well, let me ask you this: if it were you listening to something in court that your father did, do you think your mom would be there in support of you, even though she didn't agree with what your father did? Would you find that strange?
hey, no, and I know my mama, the mother I know, will be at work doing hell. She'll be like, "Oh no, honey, you got to. I hear you do what you do, and you support your dad and all that." But yeah, I don't think my mother would take that approach. Knowing her,
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't think she would.
Okay.
Well, does anybody want to add anything about parental support or Oh, I think we do have someone want to ask. Hey, chaotic cup.
Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
sure can.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I think I would agree with Will. Being a parent, even if I don't agree, I will always support uh, my child. And generally speaking, his mother, even in odd cases, we can have discussions behind closed doors, but usually in public, we're going to support that action and make sure that the kid is right, kind of no matter who's wrong in the situation. The kids are the first people that we need to support.
I know that's right. And he done sat there and told a bold face lie because Virgo men don't agree with anybody but themselves. Let me stop. Allegedly, allegedly.
I was married to a Leo, so like it's 0 to 100.
Oh,
It's 0 to 100. So if I know it's good for
yeah.
me, which I do know it's good for me and everybody else, I stay the fuck out of her way.
I know that's right. Well, does anybody want to add anything else about supportive parenting before we go to the next story? But this next story, we won't spend too much time on it because I feel like, well, one, I haven't seen this new documentary about Wendy Williams, but I'm sharing a link from People, and you see where it says here, Wendy Williams was moved from her care facility floor after allegedly sneaking up to the roof, getting drunk on her birthday. And this was I guess this happened last year. It says there's an hour-long special called Trap, What is Happening to Wendy Williams, and it premiered last night on the ID channel, and it takes a deeper look into the life under guardianship. The former talk show host, who's now 60, currently resides in a secured floor of a New York City assisted living facility, but investigative journalist Diane Diamond claimed that wasn't always the case. Wendy was on the third floor in this care unit where she has access to the hallways to the elevators, Diamond alleged. And on her birthday, she decided to get in the elevator and see where she could go. Well, it went all the way up to the rooftop bar, and it being her birthday, she ordered a drink, and then another one, and another. Who knows how many, but she will admit to you that she got drunk and she had a relapse. Her treatment is to be sent to a much more restrictive ward, she claimed, and that was the fifth floor, the memory care unit, where she has a room with a bathroom and a television, and she is locked into that floor 24/7 unless the guardian gives her permission to go out once in a while. Representatives for Wendy did not immediately return people's requests for comment. So, and like I said, we pretty much know Wendy's story to death, so we don't really need to read much about Sabrina Morrissey and what she's been going through with that judge and all that. So, but yeah, are you all? I'm probably going to end up watching it tonight. The Chill, do you have any interest in it, or just not your?
No, I would watch it. I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll check it out because I can stream it.
Yes. Well, that's that on that. Does anybody want to add anything about Wendy before we go to the next story? Okay, y'all. Well, this next story, honey, Megan Thee Stallion says, "Leave her the fuck alone." And you know what? I stand beside her because y'all keep trying it. Y'all keep trying this young lady, and I hate it. So I'm sharing this link from Vibe, and it says Megan Thee Stallion blasts demon Tory Lanez over new shooting claims. Megan Thee Stallion has clearly had enough of the ever-changing narrative surrounding the 2020 shooting that involved Tory Lanez, Kelsey Harris, and the driver present that night. After Tory's legal team resurfaced with new claims that could prove his innocence, quote unquote, Megan took to TikTok with a fiery, no holds barred message, doubling down on exactly who she says pulled the trigger. Despite Lanez being convicted in 2023 for assault with a firearm, discharge of a firearm with gross negligence, and having a concealed firearm in a vehicle, he and his legal team have continued to push for an appeal. At what point are y'all gonna stop making me have to relive being shot by Tory, the Houston rapper asked in a lengthy post? At what point are Tory and y'all fans are gonna stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? 1 minute, y'all said I was never shot. Now y'all let him play in y'all face again and say I was shot, but it wasn't him. Oh, okay. Um, the hit spitter added, "I'm sick of this shit. Leave me the fuck alone." She then reminded everyone that Lane's real name, Daystar Peterson, did not take the stand during the trial. He ain't dare get on the stand and deny he shot me, and that was his choice because he knows he did that shit. Why in the fuck would me, Megan Thee Stallion, have to lie about a motherfucker shooting, me? How y'all mad at the person that got shot? As far as and as for the new evidence, Megan shut the narrative down with the quickness. Facts are facts. He did it. It was proven in court. Tory, you shot me. Ain't no new fucking evidence. Y'all been saying the same shit for years. She ended her IG story by calling the rapper a fucking demon, and she is absolutely right. So Lane's team recently claimed that they were approached by a man named Bradley James, who allegedly worked as a bodyguard for Megan's former friend Kelsey Harris, a key witness in the case. According to Lane's team, James said he overheard Harris admitting to being the one who pulled the trigger, not the 31-year-old star. James, however, didn't testify in court, speak at the press conference, and hasn't said a word publicly. And then they have a video, a picture of Megan's response to this. I really wish they'd leave that girl alone, for real. I don't understand it. Like, Tory Lane's music is not that good. He is not that cute, and he's short as fuck, and he's Canadian. What is it like? Do y'all hate black women so much that you are willing to go up for this leprechaun? Like, it's crazy to me. Child.
Not too hard on short kings, but you are right in all other respects.
Fuck short kings too, honey. Don't think y'all good for me. Y'all only thing a short motherfucker can do to me is point me to the nearest tall nigga. Fuck. Anyway, go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Absolutely. We see time and time again, especially in Western society, how Black women are treated. And this is kind of like times 1,000 because she is such a public figure, you know? And it's really disappointing, to say the least. You know? And also, it also hasn't been lost on me with this, I guess you can call it, new support for Tory Lanez from the most problematic and just men in the industry, you know, and those people who have defended those men previously are now were in close proximity with Megan at some point or taking pictures with her, and that didn't sit right with me either. Even though many times, like, the support of those problematic people wasn't in connection to Tory Lanez, but if you know these people in a certain light, then you can understand their stance is not unique or surprising at all. So I just really hope that Meg has good, solid people around her, and she also watches her back amongst these female celebrities, singers, and the like, who have previously, extended support to these problematic people who are now extending support to Tory Lanez. You know,
And you are so right. Like those people you were talking like you if you look at their history and stuff, it would be no surprise that they would support someone like Tory. What did surprise me was they were talking about his ass on Fox News. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see that clip. I'm like, now hold up, now I thought y'all were America first. Now this is a whole immigrant who attacked an American, and it's like, okay, just hypocrites. And somebody pointed out that what they're doing is pretty much trying to. I don't want to use the word indoctrinate, but they're trying to get support from like black men for their Republican like far right cause, and I don't know. It's
they don't even have to, no shade. We don't have to try that hard. You know,
shame.
some of our siblings will do it for free just to shuck and tap dance and get closer proximity to what they believe is access. So, I mean, I understand, but I don't understand. I don't want to understand, but I do understand. If that makes sense.
Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like your best friend from the Breakfast Club, Auntie.
Ooh. And we have comments. Fuck you. Short people ain't did shit to you. Then somebody else said, only thing a short nigga can do for me is get something for me from the bottom shelf. BB says short king slander is intolerable. You wide gaping slut. Now, first of all, bitch, don't
Agreed.
nothing gape over here but this throat. Let's wake that up. Y'all, y'all ain't gonna cover this tight Christian
Leave God out of this, please.
There was an article, tweet earlier today I saw that some government official is asking for a state pardon for Tory Lanez, saying his sentence
Mm-hmm.
was based on whatever, whatever. I'm thinking, uh, okay, who paid her to say that?
Son
It,
Star Peterson, just like he
yeah,
paid Milagro.
it was a woman. I'm thinking, wow.
Mm-hmm. And somebody pointed out that she's a representative in Florida, so she don't even have anything to do with California, and
Oh,
she doing all
oh,
that.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's I get it. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the whole. I'm with Megan. Leave that girl the fuck alone. And you know what? And she has like Megan has a little bit of a small win here. We're gonna celebrate our small wins because Milagro Cooper, her attorney done quit on her, honey.
Oh Lord.
Yes. And I just shared this link from All Hip Hop. You see where it says Milagro Grams drop for a stiffing lawyer, excuse me, in Megan Thee Stallion battle. So Milagro Grams lost her attorney in the middle of her legal fight with Megan Thee Stallion after her lawyer claimed she failed to pay and made his job impossible. Despite the loss, Milagro Grams is still backed by the same nonprofit defending Tory Lanez. Attorney Michael A. Pansier filed a motion to withdraw as Graham's local counsel in her federal civil case, citing irreconcilable differences and unpaid legal fees that made his role unreasonably difficult. The lawsuit, filed by Megan Thee Stallion in October 2024, accuses Milagro Grams of defamation, cyberstalking, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and distributing deepfake pornography. Megan's lawsuit alleges Milagro Graham spent years harassing her online, acting as a surrogate for Lanez, who was convicted in 2022 of shooting Megan and sentenced to 10 years in prison. The complaint claims Graham spread false information about the case, including conspiracy theories and incorrect claims that the firearm used in the shooting had vanished from evidence. Megan's legal team is seeking a jury trial and compensatory and punitive damages. The suit includes screenshots of Graham's social media posts as evidence. Despite the legal shakeup, Graham's, whose real name is Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, is still represented by attorney Michael Hayden and the nonprofit law firm Unite the People, Inc. The same firm also represents Tory Lanez, who is not named a defendant in the suit, but has been pulled into the case through a court-ordered deposition. Tory Lanez was ordered to testify in the case to determine whether he funded or directed Graham's alleged smear campaign. During the deposition, Lanez reportedly disrupted proceedings, feigned confusion over simple words, and made misogynistic remarks toward Megan's attorney. The deposition was cut short, and Megan's lawyer have since asked the court to hold him in contempt and impose sanctions. I remember us talking about that. Unite the People has pushed back on the lawsuit, calling it an attack on Milagro Graham's First Amendment rights. The nonprofit said it plans to defend other influencers facing similar legal threats from Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that Unite the People doesn't really care for Megan Thee Stallion. Because let me see. Let me just kind of look to see who runs this really quick. Unite the People Inc. Let me see. About Our Team. Let me go to their About Our Team page and see what comes up. Yeah, these, I don't mean no harm. So it's a co-founders, Mitch McDowell and Caesar McDowell. So are they brothers, maybe? Yeah, I'll read more about this later. But I think maybe Mitch and Caesar maybe have a problem with Megan, or I don't know, a strong black one, because this is crazy. How you want to sit there and represent somebody that, one, her lawyer just quit because they said that he ain't been paid and she is making his job unreasonably difficult. But they still, this nonprofit want to still represent her. I just don't get it. I just don't understand the Megan hate. I really don't. Like, do don't like the way she talk, or is she too tall, or maybe it's just simply because she's a black woman who speaks up for herself. I don't know. Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
From a business perspective, the optics would be amazing for that nonprofit, because they would be in close proximity to someone that was such a high profile, and it would enhance their visibility and potentially attract more clients. So
that's what I was thinking.
You know, it makes total sense from like an optics perspective. And plus, what the fuck else she gonna do with her $3,000?
It's probably already gone, right?
Right. It was like what's even never mind. But it's like, I'm pretty sure Sunstar and Moonstar and Apple Star, they aren't paying for her legal fees either. So really, she's up a creek with no paddle, and they was like, "Oh, well, thank you for your services," and then moved along while she's having to deal with this. It's people just don't think, you know. So I'm pretty sure moving forward, she'll make better choices, and not in turn to what's her name with the Tasha K.
Oh, speaking of Tasha K, honey, now she said, because y'all know a bitch like to mess every now and then, and I can't stand it, especially, you know, how that transphobia that she did towards T.S. Madison. But now I will say, like, if I'm watching something on YouTube and Tasha's video just happens to come on after what I'm watching, I won't turn it off. So, and one of her most recent videos, she was talking about Funky Dineva. And she said that Funky Dineva is actually having money troubles. Now, on the outside, I was like, that don't seem right, because this bitch makes too much YouTube money. But what Funky has been doing, he's been like making shows where he normally doesn't do, like on weekends. I remember he did a Saturday and a Sunday show. You remember how he famously left TGI Friday with Claudia Jordan and Al Reynolds because of money. And then he was on camera saying, "Oh, well, you know, I would love to get the crew back together. You know, we made magic." I'm like, maybe it was some truth to what Tasha was saying. I hope not, but I mean, it do look like that. And then he just moved from Miami to Atlanta, got that house to take care of and all that. So, but what Tasha alleged is that he's spending all his money on his boyfriend and his coke habit, allegedly. So I need to start watching Tasha K, long story short. Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
A serious question. How far down the tree do you have to fall to the point where you have to cover what's going on with Funky Dineva?
The side eye I just gave Auntie on the neck.
And there's no shade to Funky Dineva. They've been a media presence for many, many years, right? So this is not a slight. It's just from the optics perspective, what Tasha used to talk about, and now what she is actually talking about. So it's like, is she kind of relegated to talk about YouTube beef at this point? Like, I am so confused. But Milagro better move her bang and pay attention to what just be coming for her as well. So.
She might be needing to move over there at Tasha's house After Megan get through stripping that pocketbook.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Tasha talks just like this. It's really hard for her to watch it for long periods of time and be drunk as hell.
Well, that was her show, Tasha Wine with Tasha K or something like that.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well, that's that on. Does anybody want to add anything about Milagro, Megan, or Tasha before we go to the next story? Well, you know, honey, y'all remember when The Color Purple, the musical came out? When was that? Was it 2 years ago? Maybe a year ago or so? And during the media, the press tour, Taraji was pretty much making some noise and was pretty much talking about like how they were being treated unfairly and stuff like that. And so I bring that up to say this next story, Taraji is still talking, honey, and I love it. I feel like people like her need to speak up. Cause she said that she was pretty much lied to for her whole career because they told her that like black people don't sell overseas. So I just shared this link from Variety, and y'all see where it says Taraji P. Henson says Hollywood lied to me about black movies and TV not selling overseas. Spent years being graceful and getting paid less. Not anymore though. I said, I know that's right, girl. Talk your shit. So Taraji P. Henson joined Stacey L. Smith, founder of the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative at the Cannes Film Festival, for a Caring Women in Motion talk in which the Oscar nominee spoke honestly about course correcting her priorities in Hollywood. Henson recently took a month off from work and relocated to Bali after feeling discouraged by the film and TV industry machine. That ain't why her ass went over there to Bali. She went over there to hang out with Russell Simmons, allegedly. Anyway, I was just frustrated and it was making me bitter. And I'm not a bitter person, Henson said, nodding to continued struggles in Hollywood over the lack of prominent roles, pay, and awards recognition for women of color. I made a promise to myself, if I ever got there, then it's time to walk away. I'm not serving myself or the audience or the characters that I play. Thank God I did that. I came back refreshed and with a new perspective. Sometimes in the industry, you make it about the trophies and the awards, and that's never why I got into it, Henson added. I came into this to change lives. The art saved me. I was a little black girl in the hood in DC during the crack epidemic. I'm supposed to be a statistic. I wasn't supposed to make it out, but I did. Smith brought data to the convention that supported Smith's frustration with Hollywood. Smith noted that while 54% of the top 100 movies of last year prominently featured girls and women, only 13% were women of color, and only 1% featured a woman of color 45 years or older. There are a few women of color being given opportunities, Smith said about her takeaway from the numbers. Henson said it was important for her to stop chasing the things I never came into the industry for, like awards, and refocus. She also noted that she had spent years being graceful and getting paid less than. Not anymore, though. When she returned from her month break in Bali, she dove headfirst into non-acting business opportunities like her beauty brand, TPH, instead of relying on that check from Hollywood. I urge you all to speak up for yourself, Henson told the women in the attendance at the conversation. I have worked my butt off to garner the following I have. My following rides for me. That's an audience I procured through my hard work and the characters I play. I know a studio, when they call me, they're calling on me because they know all the people are going to come up and show up. That's my power. You need me because you need my following. Thank you, social media. Once I figured that out, I started speaking up for myself. Henson said that one of the defining moments in realizing she had power in Hollywood was when she discovered the industry's claim that black projects don't sell overseas is just a myth. It happened during the international press tour for Fox's music drama series Empire, which turned Henson into an international star as her character, the outspoken Cookie, became the series' most iconic role. When I did the international press for Empire, up until then, I was told black doesn't translate overseas. She said, really? We went to Paris. Lee Daniels kept me a secret to the audience at a Q&A. The fans started asking the Cookie questions, and he said, why don't you ask her? Before he could finish saying my name, the entire room erupted in applause and was screaming. For me, I got up on the stage and I ugly face cried. The myth was busting. You lied to me my entire career. I leave the stage and there are fans outside who know my name. That changed the game. As Henson re enters Hollywood with a new perspective, she says she is embracing the freedom of doing what I want to do and not being controlled by the industry or the machine. She next stars in the Netflix drama film Straw that will be streaming on June 6th. And I'm gonna watch because it's I like her and I like Tyler Perry. So who had their hand up first? Was it Chill or Will?
I did.
Go ahead, Chilly.
I I find that like interesting because isn't Everybody Hates Chris? Isn't what is that sitcom that's a black sitcom that's like a major hit overseas? People watch it. It's one of those. And if
It's Everybody Hates Chris. Mm-hmm.
okay, and if you watch, Netflix has a lot of movies made, in Europe and England and so forth. There's always black people in them, so I don't understand how they could even put like as an actor why you wouldn't see that's not true. That's
Chat.
just my take on it. Like why would you believe that lie? Hmm.
Yeah, I guess when the powers that be, the executives are coming up to you and saying, "Yeah, this is not going to work overseas" and stuff, you just kind of take their word for it as an. And she's right. Like when it comes to, you really have to do it for the love of the art. If you
Right,
go in and try to make money, because you remember I told y'all how much I made as an extra,
right.
working on. Trust me, I wouldn't. If I had to live off that, I would starve. So you just really have to do it for the love of the art, and that's where I guess that's where her new perspective. But a lot of times, though, there have been some cases. Like I don't know if you remember that movie. What was it called? Was it Couples Retreat?
Mm-hmm.
And remember how like on the American movie poster they had Faison Love and the girl who played his girlfriend,
Right, right.
and then they took it over there to what was it? Was it China or something?
It
And
took
they
them off.
completely removed. So
Yeah, I
it
remember.
happens.
I remember that. And to watch someone make millions and millions as a lead actor and you're getting paid, $500,000. I get it. You do have to do it for the love of the art. If you want to work, you kind of have to
Mm-hmm.
swallow those bitter pills. So yeah, that's crazy. Go ahead, Will.
It's really odd to me how people don't realize that black artistry as a whole translates better outside of a. We've seen it time and time again. Many of the biggest acts in the world, they say, fuck America, I'm going to act, I'm going to sing, I'm going to perform everywhere else. And they get all the love and all the notoriety and all the money as well, which leads me to believe that I agree with Auntie's point. I would like to add that those same executives are trying to push an agenda. They're trying to push certain actors, and so
True.
they in turn lie to other actors like Taraji and the like, saying that oh it won't do well, although it would do exceptionally well because they just want somebody else with that visibility, and that's immediately where my mind goes to when she continues to speak about this. So I'm happy the legend is she's still popping her shit and talking her truth because it's important, especially for the younger generation that wants to whose lives have been transformed by the art that she and others who look like her have created, and they want to operate in a similar capacity. Like all of these discussions are important. It's also equally important that they recognize that just because you talk about it once doesn't necessarily mean change is going to happen. So you need to keep their foot on their proverbial necks until something shakes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they do have control, so I guess it's hard to overcome what they say, even though if you know better, even like how can you can't force them to distribute the film overseas. You know what I'm saying? Like they're tethered to the industry here, and to bypass that, I guess they would have to go overseas and get acting parts or as an entertainer, which is mostly musical entertainers that have done that. I don't know so much the movie, the film entertainers have done the same thing. Go ahead, Will.
I mean, oh, you'd be surprised. It's just not spoken about as much because naturally music is in our faces, and acting in film and television takes a lot more time. But you'd be
Hmm.
surprised.
Okay.
I think the distribution models for music has opened up quite a bit with streaming and artists being able to go directly to the web and kind of distribute their music. So yeah, to your point, it's a lot cheaper. I was just recently out of the country, and it's surprising all of the things that you can't watch when you're out of the country.
Really?
Like what?
Yeah. Half of my Netflix shows that I watch were unavailable. I was in.
Wow.
Never mind. I was in.
Your ass was in Bali hanging out with Russell Simmons.
I was in a different hemisphere.
It's interesting.
Do y'all remember when Happy kept like suggesting that we watch Project Runway, like when it came back, and Issa Rae was a part of that production team that was on that. Baby, when I tell y'all I watched it, because like that colorism is a huge thing, right? Especially in Hollywood, but to see it actually play out in real time, like on television, was just blowing my mind. And what I mean by that, because they were doing a movie, and I think the movie was called Dark Matter. They already had the lady that they wanted to play the mom, so they were looking for a daughter. The first girl they picked was a dark-skinned girl who, I mean, she played that role. She was so good in it, and they actually really did look like a mother and daughter. So the casting was great. What they did, the execs over there at HBO, they said, "Well, I'm not really sure about this girl here. She seems like she has a chip on her shoulder." And in my head, I'm thinking, well, yeah, because that's what the role calls for. The girl is supposed to have a chip on her. She's being chased because she has like magical abilities or something like that. So she's supposed to have a chip on her shoulder. But no, what they did, they picked that little light skinned girl who y'all probably have seen her playing on that show Black Cake on Hulu. She ended up playing the daughter because she was a lighter skin. They was like, oh yeah, we really like her. I'm like, ooh, Project Greenlight, thank you. So yeah, that I just and that kind of explains why you kind of now see, like, if you look on, especially now, you may see something different with a show that's out of maybe an African show, but if you're looking for something with a dark skinned female lead, baby, you're not gonna find it on Netflix or Max, or definitely not on Amazon Prime. So go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Or if it is predominantly black, they have to have a tinge of white or other somewhere.
Wake it up.
I think Amazon
otherwise it's something that they're pushing. That's something I noticed with Netflix as well. It's like, oh, this is so late. What was that show? Dear White People. That's a first show that pops into my mind, and it's so sad.
I think Amazon is doing some of the better work, but I think where you do end up seeing it is you have to have a huge director who has the kind of power to cast who the hell they want. So like, I feel like what is his name? Spike Lee can cast whoever the hell he wants. Shonda can cast whoever the hell she wants. But it's kind of one off in those huge directors that get that kind of sway and power, mostly because they're backing up dump trucks full of money for them. Because Shonda has a new show with a black lead right now on Amazon or Netflix.
Are you talking about the one with the black detective?
Yeah, I think that was The Residence.
Yeah,
where they
that's really good. I love that. I watched
good
it.
as hell.
I love that character.
The Bird Watcher.
It's from Shonda. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has to be somebody that big of notice or that big of fame to be able to.
Tyler Perry, Shonda, those kind of people.
Spike on HBO, I think, was able to get a couple shows running with black leads, but HBO seems to always be on some fuck shit.
Always. Well, go ahead and create your own network, Daddy Warbucks, so I can go ahead and be like the lead actor on your network.
That don't got nothing to do with me. That ain't.
And I'm willing to sleep my way to the top. Wink, wink.
Fuck you.
Get out of here.
Well, how did I get in this shit today? Come on,
You put yourself in it. Well, you know who else asked how did I get in it? That damn Yerky. Y'all know I couldn't wait to talk about his ass, honey.
You know what?
Ooh, child. Do you see this comment? Hammond said, you're going to punish your future boss by sleeping with them. How dare you, bitch? How dare you? You will respect this twat, okay? Anyway, I just shared this link from TMZ. Sky Jackson files for restraining order against baby father DeAndre Bergen, best known as Yerky. Girl. So Sky Jackson says the father of her baby is terrorizing her and has been for more than a year. But an alleged Mother's Day assault was the last straw for her. The former Disney Channel star filed a restraining order in LA County Superior Court. And in the docs, she claims DeAndre Bergen attacked her earlier this month as she was holding their baby boy, 3-month-old Kasai on Mother's Day. Ooh, this motherfucker is ugly, honey. This picture, it was a jump scare, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me get it off my screen. Okay. According to the docs, DeAndre grabbed Sky by her hair, slammed her head against a car window, and punched her in the face. But Sky claims this kind of violence is nothing new. In the docs, she describes a 6-month period in 2024 when Bergen would abuse her on a weekly basis, choking and scratching her and slamming her head into a wall. She alleges Bergen also damaged a bunch of personal property like an iPhone and a television. While she was pregnant, Sky claims Bergen demanded she drink bleach to kill the unborn child and held her at knife point as he walked her to the car and threatened to stab her in the stomach if she yelled for help. On another occasion last summer, she alleges Bergen punched through a bathroom door. She had locked herself inside and slammed her against the wall and choked me until I could not breathe. Sky says she has video to back up that claim. As we reported, Bergen's had plenty of legal trouble in the past. He was arrested last month on an outstanding warrant, and when Sky gave birth in January, he was doing a 90-day jail sentence for a parole violation. She claims Bergen owns 3 firearms, including a rifle, and she clearly fears for her life. She asked a judge to keep Bergen 100 yards away from her, their baby, and their terrier pug mix in order to order him to take a domestic violence treatment program. Sky says they don't have a legal child support agreement, so she wants that and for Bergen to cover all of her legal fees. And then there's been a little bit of an update. The domestic violence temporary restraining order was granted, and the next court hearing has been scheduled for June 9th in downtown Los Angeles. So this is another one of those cases because I seen those same arguments last night. You know, when people was like, Sky, like, baby, we tried to tell you, and a lot of people were like, well, no, this is not the time to, pile up on her. Well, when is the time? Because the writers were on the wall. We saw this coming from 2 miles away, not even a mile away, from 2 miles away. And you know what? It is not lost on me. And we were just talking about colorism. Remember how it was reported, because we actually talked about it on the show, where she got arrested when they had got into a really bad argument, and she was arrested while she was pregnant because they said that she was the aggressor. Y'all remember that? So now this is just, I just hate it for that baby. I'm telling you, it's what is it about I think I know the answer to that. I was about to say what it is about babies that just kind of make relationships come to an end, but yeah, that's a big jump, and babies having babies. And
somebody tweeted, wasn't he in jail when she even met him? I don't know.
Was he?
That's what the tweet said. I didn't.
Well, there you go.
Any further, and that's why they didn't have much sympathy for her, because she sort of put herself in a situation knowingly.
I sort of don't have any sympathy for her. I'm sorry, and I know that's terrible. I just don't. I hate that she was, attacked. I do not want to see any woman being beaten on, but this is a case of being a victim of your own bad decisions. Like, ma'am, this and he's ugly. Like, why you let him climb on top of you? He's ugly. Anyway.
Well, we don't know where her head was at. Sometimes people do things when they're down or depressed, or we don't know anything about her personal life really, that she would let this man into her life, much less procreate with him. So, same thing with that other girl who swims under the sea.
Mm-hmm.
People probably told her the same thing, and look where we are now with that. Anyway, go ahead, Will.
And the one thing that's often missing in this discussion is she's fucking young. She's 23.
Yeah.
23 years old.
Touche.
Do many of us in this room who are older than 23 realize how if we were to look back at our former selves at that age, well, a good 10 years, some of us, we would say to ourselves, what the fuck was I thinking? What the fuck was I doing?
You're right.
And so like age and naivete and youth will have you doing some stupid shit later that you will in hopes that later you'll gain the wisdom to not do them again. But that's often missing in these discussions, especially with her and Ariel and the like. It was like I look at these ages like, oh, they're just young and they're in a high profile situation, whereas somebody's cousin or somebody's neighbor, who is the same age, going through the exact same shit. They just don't have the money to make people care about it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
you're
oh,
right. And
go ahead, Auntie.
no, I was gonna say, and you were absolutely right, because it was definitely missing in my, and you kind of just maybe woke it up for me and made me realize my blind spot. Yeah, they are young, and yeah, me at 23. Yeah, shit, y'all could see it on Twitter. I was a mess. So
We saw that foundation and that scarf, Auntie. Yes, we did.
I definitely can look back on some things I did in my early 20s. I wish I could take back. You're right. You're definitely right about that. I just hate babies get brought into it, that now you're tied to this mistake. Even if you do get a restraining order, I mean, you've got a whole child that.
Well, to be fair, Joe, I mean, like in their mind, it's totally rational. They've rationalized it in their minds, and we don't know the type of persona that this person presented to her that would appeal to her in such a way that she would want to have such a life altering situation with.
Yeah.
So it's very, very layered. But I always come back to the point: she's 20 fucking 3. She may have had a high profile, had a job as I believe it was Disney. I was aged out at that point, but she was a child actor, and the child actors still need to have the capacity to find their way as well, just like everybody else. So I tend to give her grace, and I really hope that she learns. She's learning very valuable lessons from the situation, and she makes a better choice in partner. I'll say that's a better way of phrasing it. In the future, in the event that she decides to want to have an actual family and all that, that's the life that she chooses to live. She knows, has an example of what not to encounter moving forward.
Hopefully,
girl, stay away from them light skinned niggas. Allegedly. Well, good luck to this. I'm telling you, she about to have the next 18 years are going to be very interesting for her. Well, and you know what? Speaking of somebody else who's about to have some interesting years ahead due to baby mom and baby daddy drama, honey, somebody who I least expect of child, Post Malone. So I just shared this link from TMZ. Post Malone says baby mama is deceiving judge in custody war. Saw that coming. You know what, Will? I didn't, because I've only maybe heard the music, and then once he said what he said about hip hop, I kind of just fell back. I'm like, I don't know about all that, so I ain't really pay him much attention. And I'm just seeing this comment in the this bitch said, "Now you have some nerve." I sure did, because I know my man is ugly, but I ain't procreating with him, so that's the difference. Anyway, so back to Post Malone. Post Malone has called BS on his baby mama, who wants an LA County judge to hear their custody case, claiming the matter properly belongs in Utah, where he is raising the child. Post had filed for custody in Utah, claiming that's where the 3-year-old daughter was raised. Their mother, Jamie Park, filed similar legal docs in Los Angeles 4 days later, asking for sole physical custody with visitation going to Post. Post lawyer, it says Disso Queen Laura Wasser, just filed legal docs asking the judge to dismiss the LA case. Wasser argues the child lives with Post in Utah and has not left the state. She says their nanny is located in Utah, a nanny who has a very strong bond with the daughter. Wasser goes on to say the child has been in music, gym classes, and swimming classes in Utah, and her pediatrician is located in Salt Lake City. Wasser says Park is deliberately misleading the LA court in an attempt to elude the law. Specifically, Wasser says Park moved to LA and rushed to enroll the child in every type of activity she can in order to mislead the court to believe that the child has lived in California and not in Utah. Post and Park split in 2024, and he's been spotted with a new girlfriend. One reason Park is gunning to have the case heard in Cali, the courts are way more generous when it comes to child support. Mm-mm. So
This is
go
not
ahead.
jurisdiction shopping is not uncommon, and yeah, I wish I would have chose a different one.
Oh my God. I don't mean to laugh, because I wasn't ready. I'm sorry.
It's sad for
What?
the child though, that this mother is playing. If this is true, that she's playing these kinds of games when the child lives in Utah. Why not? Why not try to come together for the sake of the child? It's not like he's not taking care of the child. It's
It's about the money. Yeah, and then sometimes lawyers get involved. Uh,
well,
I
if
know.
they say he wasn't going to give her any money or any kind of support, I mean, we're just knowing the basics. Like,
No, I'm saying it, greed on one part, greed on the lawyer's part. Sometimes you listen to a lawyer and you can make a situation worse. That you
worse,
wanted something to be amicable, but you listen to your lawyer, and then things escalate, and then it's less about what you two want and more about what the lawyers end up saying. Because yeah, been there, done that.
right? I feel you. I feel you. It's just, I guess, I have a soft spot in my heart for the children since that was my career. And I've just
Mm-hmm.
seen so many, so many dysfunctional relationships. Very few that I can admire and say, "Wow, this is parenting right here." Whereas for the most part, it was like, goddamn, why do y'all have to act this way?
Yeah, it can be pretty big jumps though in terms of magnitude. I don't make that kind of money, but
It ain't got nothing to do with money though. I mean, I understand this case may, but it's
in
not
terms
even
of in terms
finance.
of living, it can be a big, a relatively big deal. I know there's not caps in DC, or excuse me, in Virginia on child support, so you can, once you make over a certain amount, the judge can apply whatever they want. And there's certain jurisdictions where that's not the case. They have more clear guidelines on people who make over like 250.
But I'm not even talking about the money. I get what you're saying, I do. But just in general, coexisting as parents, doing the best for the child, and especially when other partners come along. There's just this whole gamut of issues that just makes people act stupid. I, and if you're not together, come together for your child. It's just so often that that's not the case. They're fighting, they're jealous, they're this, they're that. I don't want her around my cat. I don't want him around my kid. Just, and I'm not saying you should introduce your kid to every single person that you're dating and have them around them, because that's an issue too, especially when you leave that kid alone with that person when they're just using you for shelter and food, and you're working or whatever, and you're leaving them to babysit your children without even having any kind of long-term relationship, and vetting them in that way is, that's a whole nother issue. But just in general, it's the kids that suffer. Kids remember a lot. Even the smallest things that you think may not have been a big deal to you, your children
Mm-hmm.
remember that. The slights, the disrespect that you gave them at a certain time, where it may not, it didn't even cross your mind that they took it that seriously, but they do. They remember things.
Yes,
So
indeed.
yeah, that's where I'm coming from with it. Past this bullshit right here.
You are absolutely right, Chill. And I'm just speaking of actually, my parents were divorced when I was 6, honey, and I still remember shit from back then. And that was what, over 30 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. And it affected you, and they have no idea. A lot of times, you never discuss those kinds of things, with your parents,
mhm.
but it affects you more than what they know.
Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
I totally agree with everything Chill said, and I'd like to add, like, children don't have the language or the capacity to express what exactly they're feeling or experiencing in that moment. It's not till they get much older when they learn what certain things are that they can kind of piece together. You know, what if they are experiencing trauma, what that trauma is, if they decide to do so, and so I see. But yeah, children always know. They always know.
Yes, indeed.
The sins of the father, that means a lot of things, and that what they see you do as opposed to what you say or whatever, when you cursed them out, or how you spoke to them. I mean, just the littlest things. Those things matter, and they don't forget. That doesn't mean they don't love you as you grow older or whatever, but they don't forget.
Yes, indeed. Good discussion, y'all. Well, before we go, because I got 3 more stories left. So before does anybody want to add anything about like co-parenting or this dirty looking person, Post Malone, who look like he need a bath, honey?
Good face scrubbing.
Mm-hmm. Girl.
I just think it all boils down to ego and entitlement.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
all it boils down to, but hopefully they can find a resolution for the sake of the upbringing of the spawn that they decided to bring into this world. So
Not Spawn.
I can't get nothing past you, Auntie.
Well, honey, now this story, honey, I'm sure y'all have heard the next about this when this news broke over the weekend. Boss man D-Lo, and it
Yes.
said that he was outed, and the D-Lo is actually not just a name; it's a lifestyle. But I just shared this link from Hot New Hip Hop. Boss man D-Lo addressed his allegation that he was trying to link up with Timmy Bansom. So, and Chill, we were talking about this like before the show. So I guess the person is not trans. I think they're maybe non-binary, but
Okay.
I don't think they're trans.
Okay.
So early this morning, I guess yesterday morning, Timmy Bansom posted alleged DMs between himself and Bossman D-Lo that suggested the rapper wanted to link. Bossman D-Lo was thrust into the spotlight this morning due to allegations made by internet influencer Timmy Bansom. Bansom alleges that the rapper was trying to link up and have sexual relations. These alleged DMs were spread all over the internet. Bansom posted alleged screenshots to their Finsta, claiming that D-Lo wasted their time. Bansom says that they charged for a meetup and D-Lo was allegedly unwilling to do that. Consequently, the screenshots were blasted online. As one can imagine, there was a huge fallout as a result of these alleged screenshots. Fans took to the internet in complete disbelief. Bossman D-Lo was subjected to a plethora of jokes and fans continued to laugh at his expense. However, it should come at no surprise that the artist will respond in a timely manner. According to the Neighborhood Talk, D-Lo has taken to his Instagram story with a response. I ain't trying to beat nobody on the internet. I don't even play them games, Boss Man D-Lo wrote. Just keep shit in the streets when you decide you want to play with a real street nigga. That's all I gotta say. New music on the way, new videos, new sauce. I'm coming. So, who is Timmy Bansom? Timmy Bansom is a 22-year-old influencer from New York who is known for their makeup and fashion content. They have over 300,000 followers on Instagram and have never shied away from calling people out. Bansom has also released music in the past, which can be found on the usual list of streaming platforms. Having said that, Bansom is going viral for reasons that go well beyond their music. As for Bossman D-Lo, it remains to be seen if he will continue to address the situation or leave it alone. Recently, the artist dropped a new song called Hit with Gucci Mane, and it's a banger. Hopefully, we get a follow up to the artist's last project, D-Lo Curry, in not the so in the not so distant future. So, Bansom better be careful. Hey, you better wake that up, okay? But do I believe Timmy Bansom? I do. Especially in that video, there was a video where he took to where he was, I guess he was recording himself using the phone, and then he went to Boss Man D-Lo's Instagram profile. And you know how you click message and it'll go to the DMs, and Boss Man D-Lo actually responded to him because he said, y'all the way he thought I was about to link, or no, he said something about, oh yeah, say, okay, I'm showing this, I'm about to show all y'all favorite rappers on my Finsta. So he's threatened to expose these people, and Boss Man D-Lo, messaged him with a question mark, like, bitch, what you mean? So yeah, I'm not a fan of now, unless this person was disrespectful to the community and stuff like that, I'm just not a fan of like outing people. But like Will said earlier, naivete. I just learned that this person is only 22 years old. I thought they were way older by the way they look, and I'm not saying that to be funny. This person just Timmy Bansom reads older. So go ahead, favorite Taurus.
It's all the fillers. I just don't see why it matters. Who gives a fuck? I guess since we live in the age of like sharing, where folks prefer to share too much about themselves online, this has become a thing. And also, of course, in the hip hop community, the homophobia definitely jumps out, and so it's definitely a dog whistle on Bansom's part. But I may be the minority. I don't give a fuck where he is sticking or getting sticked. That has nothing to do with me. If you are a musician and you're putting out music for people who want to listen to it, not me, but people who want to listen to it, more power to you. But all this extra shit, I don't think it matters. And I definitely think this Bansom person, this is not going to have the result that they think it is. Because not only is he putting himself in Boss Man D-Lo, okay, in danger, but also there could be some career implications to this as well on both sides. So you're fucking up people's money to have a gotcha moment when it could potentially backfire and blow up in your face big time. So you just got to leave people in their orifices and what they want to do with them alone. Too much.
You're right, and you're right. And but I just want to ask one more question, and that's it. Then I leave their orifices alone. I promise. So, do y'all think when Boss Man D-Lo said in his song "She ate that dick so much I need huggies," you think he would talk about Timmy Bansom?
I don't know who this boss man. I don't know who this person is. Sorry to this man. He could be rapping the Lord's Prayer. I still wouldn't know a thing about it.
Well, that's that on that. And honestly, I don't think we've heard the last of this, to be honest. And to be honest, I don't know. Y'all think things might get litigious? Like, Boss Man D-Lo may try to sue.
What's that? So. Okay.
I mean, I'd kind of be surprised if he went there, unless that person kept going. But I don't think so. Go ahead, Will.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to sue, you'd have proof that they're a liar.
Okay.
So it was like, does he really want to open up that can of worms? I don't think so. But I definitely believe someone of his background and what he said in the whatever he said. Like there are other ways to kind of go about it. And he may choose to go that route. So I just really hope that Bansom Okay. He's just, well, excuse me, they're just careful. That's all I can really say. You know.
Yeah, I agree. And Hammy says in the chat, I don't really care about another DL rapper and some loose ass, loose lips. And I don't know if those 3 dots were supposed to be fag or I don't. That's what I'm assuming that it is. Okay, yep. See, I know my people, and I can say that y'all can't. Well, Will can say.
We would never. I never say anything. But I recognize that as one of those. Y'all can say that, but we can't say that.
Well, Chill, anytime you want me to say it for you, boo, you just let me know, and I'll say it out loud.
Thank you, honey.
Well, does anybody want to add anything about Boss Man, Bansom, or not saying the F word before we go to the last 2 stories? Well, this next story, I told y'all to keep y'all asses far away from them Cybertrucks, honey. So I'm sharing this link. So Gilbert Arenas is talking about his son's accident, and he said that the crash stemmed from a Cybertruck malfunction. So and we were asking, like, how did he just run into, like, was he drunk or something? No, it was because the car was malfunctioning. And remember, the shit got bulletproof windows, so it was hard for him to get him out of there. So we're going to watch a quick video of him talking about it. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. And I have to say, Gilbert, he is so cute. Let's let this load.
Story short is, the car, malfunctioned on them. The steering wheel went limp and ran right into a tree. But like once he got his personality back, which is once they took the drugs out of him, right? Our jokes came back, and man, boy, you almost went extra crispy on me, man.
Right.
You almost went extra crispy, dog.
Because you said that, so those windows are bulletproof. He couldn't break the window.
He couldn't break the window. And
so he was stuck in a car that was on fire.
Yeah, and I had I have his phone. I had his phone, got his phone. So I seen that, when people are like, oh, he fell asleep. I'm looking at, he's on the phone, right? He's on the phone with 911. I'm trying to get that call. He was on the phone with them for 10 minutes. So I know he was at least in the car for 10 minutes, right? And, it's, once he started, talking and, doing all that, just realized he couldn't break the window, start doing all the back search on the car. And, it's, if you're a parent and your teen has this car, you might want to put a hammer in that joint.
Something to be able
something
to
that can break the window, because physically
not strong enough.
He said he was trying to kick the door, the window, and he couldn't. Damn. And I said, I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna just be honest with you, because when he got home, we had flowers for him, and I gave him that speech. I said, listen, you're a lucky one to see this. Most people don't get to see the flowers and how everybody reacts when something happens. So you get to witness what the world did when you was sleep, when you was in an induced coma. So this is what's supposed to make you great, that you watch life that could have just ended, right? You can't take this for granted.
Oh, he talking about, so if you're gonna get this for your teenagers and put a hammer, how about don't put their ass in no damn Cybertruck at all? Like, how after that experience you just went through, like, why would you? I don't, rich people, I just don't get it. I'm sorry, this is crazy. Go ahead, favorite tourist.
You're gonna pay over 6 figures for a car, and then you still need to put a hammer in the bitch just in case something happens. Like, something is not right here. You mean to tell me that that vehicle doesn't have the capacity to have some sort of mechanism or anything of the sort in the event that something like this happens, but you have to carry a $5 hammer from the Dollar Tree in your 6-figure car just in case it malfunctions?
And my thing is, right, if it's bulletproof, then why would a hammer penetrate it? Am I like, do we got any engineers in here? Damn, the cup just left. I could have asked him, because he's an engineer, but I don't.
a hammer on a bulletproof window. Uh, if a bullet won't break it, what a hammer's gonna do?
Right. Like, mm. Long story short, keep y'all asses out them damn Cybertrucks. Honey, you can't pay the Cybertruck or a self-driving car or a cruise. You can't pay me to get any of those shits, honey.
Any
I
car
don't
with a
give a damn.
battery, because if they wreck, the fire possibility is so real, and you're stuck because the doors are crushed. You can't open them, especially Teslas because they're all battery. They catch on fire a lot after being wrecked. I just know. Go ahead, Will.
So, Auntie, I have a question. If you had to choose between driving or riding in a Cybertruck and going on a cruise, which one would you choose?
I choose eating a salad.
Oh,
Because I ain't getting no not now one on. But no, out of those three, it's definitely not gonna be a cruise. Like that's a no. Okay, maybe I will sit in the Cybertruck, but y'all can't crank it up and we can't go nowhere.
No, the truck
Well,
has to move for the bet to be effective. So we can drive 100 feet.
Oh God. I feel like that's too many. That's 100 feet too many, honey. I'm sorry. Well, does anybody want to add anything before we go to our last story? All right, y'all. Well, our last story, honey. Now, this shit is crazy. Cause Salt and Pepper decided to take the Drake route. They are actually currently suing UMG. And I just shared this link from Hot New Hip Hop. Y'all see where it says Salt and Pepper furthers UMG legal woes with new copyright lawsuit. And they allege that UMG did them dirty. So Salt and Pepper have filed a lawsuit against Universal Music Group, accusing the company of refusing to return control of their classic recordings. In the complaint, which they filed in New York federal court on Monday, they claim the company began deliberately removing their songs from streaming platforms in retaliation, according to All Hip Hop. In particular, the hip hop group accuses UMG of allegedly violating the Copyright Act, which ensures their right to reclaim control of their music's intellectual property 35 years after its release. To the contrary, UMG has indicated that it will hold plaintiffs' rights hostage, even if it means tanking the value of plaintiffs' music catalog and depriving their fans of access to their work. The lawsuit reads, as obtained by Rolling Stone. The duo also noted that they filed notices of termination in 2022 in an effort to begin the process of reclaiming their masters. UMG's copyright ownership interest in the sound recordings is not subject to termination. For reasons stated, UMG will continue to possess the exclusive rights to exploit the sound recordings pursuant to... Sorry, I just lost my place. 1 second. Pursuant to rights. UMG's legal team wrote in a letter of response in June 2022. Ms. James and Ms. Denton are hereby advised to refrain from attempting to exploit the sound recordings or taking any other actions interfering with UMG's continuing rights in the sound recordings. Salt and Pepper's representatives told Rolling Stones in a statement, they're punishing them for asserting those rights and silencing decades of culture-shifting work. Like many artists, they're challenging a system that profits from their work while denying them control. This fight is about more than contracts. It's about legacy, justice, and the future of artist ownership. And then it goes in to talk about Drake's lawsuit, which we really don't need to discuss because we know that from top to bottom now. So, yeah. Look, wake that up, Will, because I was like, the first, when I was seeing this story, I said, it sounds like karma to me, honey, because the way they did Cinderella, I mean, they did Cinderella dirty. Go ahead, favorite Taurus.
Oh, well, you're not part of us. You are a contractor.
Okay, like that girl won't sit there alongside them making history. Like a girl, I was so pissed at them.
It's like, and then yeah. So I definitely think it's karma, but I hope they find a resolution to whatever's going on, But they've been emboldened in legal woes since I was damn near out of diapers.
Mm-hmm.
So they should have it down pat by now, if anything. So
Susu it real good.
oh God.
Well, y'all, that was all the tea that I had for us today. So before I head out and go and watch my stories, does anybody have any tea that they would like to share? Any tea I might have missed? All right, y'all. Well, it is always a pleasure. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and sip tea with me. We will be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And also, I forgot like the last couple of shows to mention the email. Please email the show at Auntie at AuntieDerek.com. And you can email like show feedback, any tea that you want us to talk about, any tea that you have yourself. Please send it to us because we want to see it. And in the meantime, you all have a fabulous rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
All right, I just stopped the recording. Thank you, Hammy. So yeah, I'm about to go ahead and watch my stories. I see y'all. Chili, I see you tonight. Oh, I may be a little bit late because my aunt, she called me. She said she wanted me to do some tips with her, but
Okay.
it's gonna be. I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
All right, bye y'all.
Bye.